RC redo? Well, is what I do is I find used vehicles at the cheapest I can find them. I look them over and see, okay, this is an interesting vehicle, and I try to purchase them as cheap as I can and restore them back to new, or to a new condition. You can't replace everything, it gets way too expensive. But when this buggy is done, this buggy is going to be complete and can be taken to the track, or might even be a shelf clean. You never know. Sometimes I'll sell them. This is the Kyosho Lazer ZX6 1/10 scale racing buggy, and brand new. This vehicle retailed for $579.99. I picked this up locally on a yard sale type page, or you could say marketplace listing. The guy had somebody give it to him, and he didn't have any desire to fix it because it is missing parts. And I talked him down to $30 for this buggy, and didn't have to ship it because it was local. Just went and picked it up, and I've had it for a while, and I finally have got all the parts together. So this is a very capable and competitive 1/10 scale buggy. The current model that they have right now as of 2022 is the Lazer ZX7. The strategy with this thing was just to buy as many parts from as few dealers as possible to keep the shipping costs down, and get this thing put back together at a reasonable price. We had to pick up a lot of parts, as you can see, is what was missing from this particular buggy. The main component was the center diff, or the center diff or slash. This particular one came with a slipper clutch, so the entire slipper clutch assembly is missing. The center drive shafts, servo mounts. It was missing the front bumper holder and suspension hinge pin carrier up in the front, but the major part was all the center pieces. Pretty sure I have everything, and this is how many parts it's gonna take to put this thing back together. Some bearings, brand new ZX6 6.6 body, new rear wing set. We got new decals. We want to make sure the body looks as good and has the livery on it. Also had to buy wheels, and we have yet to narrow down a tire selection, but we're just going to get it shelf ready at this point, and just so we can hang it up. It's going to look beautiful. So we're going to do some time lapse. We're going to skip some of the boring stuff, and by the end of this episode we're going to have a complete 1/10 scale buggy. So let's just go over some of the parts that I had to pick up. We had to get center drive shafts, wheel hexes for that side, springs, everything for the center. We got front suspension parts, servo mounts. It was missing the battery mounts, of course spur gear, slipper pads, a couple front hinge pins, upper center slipper mounts, diff cups, and the front bumper. And the number one thing we need to start with is we need to clean this thing. It is extremely dirty. I will show you the basic disassembly, and then we will skip ahead and go ahead and do the cleaning off camera. But basically we're just going to use like foaming glass cleaner, a little simple green degreaser, some toothbrushes, some fingernail brushes to get this thing completely clean and get it to where it is in, so it looks really nice and there is no more gunk on it. Also going to tear the diffs apart, get inside those and see what's going on. We'll clean and bleed all the shocks. So let's get tearing this thing apart. are. We made a big mess, tore everything apart, and in the process of assembling back together some of the stuff now, I had a hard time filming some of it. I ran into 7 stripped out screws where the hex head was stripped out so bad that I couldn't even get a hold of it. I have a quality driver. I have a couple of them, tried them both, couldn't get it out. Had 2 in the rear of the chassis here to the aluminum brace. So I had to take a Dremel and slot those and use a flathead screwdriver to get those out. The front shock tower had 2 screws on it that were stripped out. Somebody had put stainless. Stainless is soft, especially if you use RC stainless stuff. That was stripped out. I had to slot those and get those out. And then the bulkheads, where we had 1 in the front and 2 in the rear bulkhead area that we had to take our drill and literally drill the heads off because you can't get a Dremel in there and slot it. So we had to drill the head out and then pry everything off this way and then extract the screw with a pair of pliers once we got everything relieved. So that put a lot of time. It's taken a long time to get this far because of that. Slowed me down a little bit. I'm not really in a rush, but it was hard to film because everything was kind of just figure it out as you go. So we're to this point. We've scrubbed the chassis down, got it really nice and clean. We've got the front arms. So we were missing this front mount here and the bumper. We got all of that set in, replaced the hinge pins in the front, so everything is set to factory out of the manual where it's supposed to be. There was a lot of weird screws and shims in the wrong place. We got the rear also put together. Now we had all the holders and everything, but they had some shims in the wrong place and their caster blocks flipped the wrong way, or whatever these little pills are that they use. They were flipped the other way on one arm, so the arm was not sitting the same from side to side. So at this point we are checking the CVA pins and re-loctiting them. One of them was halfway out in the front, and so now we're to the point of wherever the next step is in the manual. Not really sure. I think we start working on the center section next. So we're going to time lapse some of that. I don't think we're going to run into any more stripped screw problems as far as I can tell. We hope not. Still got a few parts to clean. Got to go through the shocks. That's where we're at now. Even though it was a lot of extra work, this is fun to do. It's like taking a cart completely apart and just reassembling it again like it's a kit. Now we're going to assemble the slipper. We have all the pieces here that we need to do the slipper. Do the slipper now. We'll start with the slipper shaft. Okay, we got this thing put together. Had to kind of find some parts and some things, but so this was the main missing part, the biggest portion of the missing pieces when I bought this car. So now we're going to bolt the motor mount. testing out the Cricut. Cut some decals. There's some masks inside to paint around. Let's get painting. Peeled the film off of the wing. This thing took a long time to do. I was working on it for 2 days. Okay, and there we have it. We have the Kyosho Lazer ZX6. Basically dumpster car. Bought it from a guy that pulled it out of a dumpster at a racetrack. He sold it to me for like $30. I thought that was a pretty good deal. Did have to buy quite a few parts, as you see in the video, already previously mentioned. Basically the center drive train was missing. And some pieces on the front end was missing. For the most part, everything's there. Just got to decide what I'm going to do on electronics completely. I have installed a motor and a servo. These tires are probably just temporary. Give you a good look at, you know, what the car looks like all put together. And this is ready to go racing. There isn't that much stuff going on in the summertime, so I might go hit some practice time and get some laps on this. I might just let it sit on a shelf for a really long time. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I've always wanted a four-wheel buggy again. I've had them in the past, but it's been a long time. and this was a fun project. So if you get a chance to come across some used vehicles that have potential, this would still be a fairly competitive vehicle at a local level. We're not talking pros. You still can find parts for it for the most part. You might want to be a little careful. You might not want to be your everyday racer, but an occasional go to the track and mess around car. But I'm sure it's still competitive. It probably turns decent lap times. Super fun. I haven't been to the track for quite a long time, so now I got this, and paint job turned out really nice. We painted all the PROLINE paints. I was using the new Cricut that I bought, which is the cutter that cuts the masks, it cuts vinyls, different kinds of things. It's not really made for this, but you can see the hexagon turned out really good. We did some freehand cutting on the other parts with mask, just some plain old masking tape. Made the wing match without putting too much paint up high where it scratches off. I ordered in a special Kyosho decal sheet. Also cut a mask for the metal RC to get my name on my car. And overall, I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. There's a few little flaws here and there, but you know what? It's my car, who cares? Also, we got new chassis protector on the bottom. As you can see, I guess over time, because this is an older car, I got this as old stock. Apparently they shrink a little bit. It's not perfect, but it covers up the beat up chassis. And yeah, pretty happy with this project. Hope you guys followed all the way through, or at least some of you did. I've got some more RC redo stuff coming up, so keep an eye out for that. Anyway, I know this type of video isn't for everyone. This is basically a video to go from start to finish of you know, partial restore. Not everything's brand new, but the car is completely functional with a lot of new parts. Everything is clean, and this thing is ready to go. It's track ready. I do have to do a few electronics things, but the car itself is ready to go. So please like, subscribe, and share. Hit the notification bell, and thanks for watching.